My brothers and sisters in Christ, today's gospel passage from the Gospel of Luke is a very simple and yet beautiful illustration of Christian humility and holiness. It flips the question of righteousness on its head. In this, we hear the story of these two people coming before the Lord, the nature of their prayers. And it may seem silly to us, but in the eyes of a Jewish audience hearing, the first person that he presents, the person, look at this, I tithe, I do these things, thank goodness I'm not like that tax collector over there. In the line of thinking of many of the contemporary Jews of this time, that person would be the righteous one. Not the tax collector, not the person who by everything he stands for is horrible and wretched, he's a known sinner, and he can't point to any of his good deeds. And yet, Jesus flips this concept of righteousness on its head. And how so? What he's pointing to is that the righteousness lies in the humility of the latter, the openness to God. For the ancient Jew, in the sense, not just the law given in the Torah, but the human precepts that attached itself in time, and the narrowness of thinking that constructed around it, despite the urging of the prophets, is the idea that righteousness is something done by people, in a sense that righteousness consists in what I do, what you do. And yet, righteousness consists in what God does. We are not capable of righteousness, truly speaking, on our own part, because we are wretched, we are sinners. We do not do what we ought to do so often. We do not think, we do not speak as God does. And yet, in humility, when we approach and open ourselves to God, God in His grace can heal and make us righteous. And from that flows forth all the good that we do. And so, yes, and this kind of gets into the faith and works debates, even in the New Testament and between, historically we know the divisions amongst Christians, but the works have to be, tied to the faith, and yet it's because the works flow forth from the righteousness in God. The first act is always God's. Our openness and humility opens for God to act in me, to make me righteous. And once I am in union with God, once God has healed me, His goodness cannot help but flow through me and to do good in love of God and love of neighbor. And so I can't be righteous and do nothing. That itself would be a sign that the love of God is not in me. And yet, it is God's action. Every good that we do is a cooperation with God's goodness. And so, sometimes the greatest thing we can do is simply to have the humility to say, God, have mercy on me, a sinner. This is what we do every time we go to the sacrament of penance. Jesus, have mercy on me. I'm a sinner. Have mercy on me. We don't go into the confessional, or at least we shouldn't, beating our chest and saying, Lord, look at the good things I've done. It's, despite my best intentions at times, Lord, I am a sinner. Heal me. Make me righteous. I myself cannot do it. Same words we say before we receive Holy Communion at Mass. Lord, I am not worthy that you should enter under my roof, but only say the word, and my soul shall be healed. May our pattern of prayer this Lenten season not follow that of the proud man, but that of the tax collector. May we in humility come before the Lord knowing that we need to be healed, and then truly rejoice that He saves us. May we allow God to be mighty and righteous in us. May God bless you.